Good morning. Some potential insider trading. And two examples how Canadian media doesn't give you the full story. And yeah, it's meant to keep you down. Just remember that. I want to see you rise up. Knowledge is power. All right, economically, the big question is, will OPEC increase production in Q1 as scheduled, or will they maintain their cuts? Now, given the way things are right now, and demand is subdued, they'll probably carry on these cuts for at least another quarter. Now, the people in the know will make big moves, hinting at what's about to come down the road. It's called insider trading, and it's illegal, and it happens all the time. Is this insider trading? Maybe, maybe not. One particular bank sold $270 million worth of U.S. oil futures ahead of the meeting that was postponed. The average volume for West Texas Intermediate is around 200 lots per minute. But this one bank traded 4,000 lots in one shot. Now, you could say it's meaningless, but it's probably not. This morning, there was another big sell-off, and then a quick buyback. Gasoline and oil still remain low. Relatively low. Now, this story is from Reuters. It's a very reputable site. This is also on oil price news and stuff like that. Canada is the fourth largest oil producer in the world, so you'd figure something like this would be important to us, but it's nowhere to be found. Speaking of nowhere to be found, Canada's productivity. Now, I got this off of Yahoo, but it's a repost from the Financial Post. You know, the conservative Financial Post. Now, here's the thing. I've mentioned this in the past. Productivity and wages go hand in hand. If the wages go down, the productivity goes down. There's many reasons for this, one of them being that higher wages prompts businesses to invest in machinery that increases productivity. Also, you're going to pay for better people. Over the last few years, Canada has flooded our labor market with low-skill, low-paid labor. It's amazing we ended up with a productivity problem. Who would have thought? But here's a conundrum. As they point out, however, elevated labor costs are a headwind for attracting business investment from outside of Canada. Even when we give them billions of dollars in incentives? Enough incentive to pay for each worker like 3, 4, 5 times over? Guess we got to push those labor costs down a little bit more, eh? It's funny how they don't mention those incentives anywhere in this article. All right, the Canada Post strike, and a little tidbit that I found out about just this morning. I'm sure, as we all know, Canada Post is a crown corporation, and they've been losing a lot of money lately. And now they're on strike, and they reacted by laying off the striking workers. And as it says here, sympathies for the union and the corporation are fairly evenly split. Some people saying, screw that union, because we're crabs in a bucket. And people hate seeing other people get ahead. But a little tidbit of information, when you see stories about Canada Post, they're neglecting to give you the full story. And I just found this out this morning. See, last year, Canada Post lost $748 million before taxes. Holy shit. That sucks. What are you doing, Canada Post? They're funneling all the good work to Purolator. I didn't know this. But Canada Post owns 91% of Purolator. There's executives on both boards. So you go to the Purolator website, go to our operations, go to the question, is Purolator a Canadian company? And there it goes. Purolator is a Canadian courier that is owned by Canada Post 91%. And while the creative accounting says that Canada Post has lost $748 million, that doesn't count the $2.7 billion that Purolator made. Quick math, $2.7 billion minus $700 million is $2 billion. That's what Canada Post actually made. Oh yes, they did. This is Jeff Bezos. He's one of the world's wealthiest people. Now, it says here that his salary is $7.9 million per hour. But it isn't. That's how much he made in total, if you count everything. But his salary is $81,000 a year. So depending on how you do the accounting, he's either one of the wealthiest people in the world, or he's barely getting by. Which do you think is the truth? So if Canada Post owns 91% of Purolator, and Purolator made $2.7 billion, did Canada Post really lose $750 million? Or is it just an accounting trick? Canada Post is going to lean heavily on their losses as a reason to not pay postal workers. But it's all a pile of bullshit. Bullshit meant to keep them down and keep you down, because here in Canada we want to make sure people believe that they are worthless. I see it in my comments all the time. Crabs in a bucket. Nobody deserves to get paid. How is the economy going to work if no one gets paid?